If you haven't noticed by now, words carry weight. Some terms are used to invoke fear or stoke support for political candidates and causes. Woke, for example, became a buzzword used by conservatives to rally the base against more progressive ways of thought. Now, DEI has a spot on the mantle.
This is a big deal. Merit. Our country is going to be based on merit again.
Last month, the president signed an executive order scrapping diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across the federal government. These were programs put in place to hire and help people from different walks of life, encouraging and embracing those differences, be they race, gender, physical ability, even sexual orientation. Supporters praise the programs, pointing out marginalized people haven't always had equal opportunity for jobs, while critics pan the moves as political and overly discriminatory toward white workers. We're even seeing efforts to remove recognition for certain groups of people within the federal government. February is Black History Month, but the Department of Defense wants no part of it. The new secretary says the DoD will no longer use official resources to celebrate cultural awareness or identity months, writing, efforts to divide the force, to put one group ahead of another, erode camaraderie and threaten mission execution. These cuts and changes, though, don't just affect the size of our workforce or what they're focusing on. There's a real impact here at home. Grants are being pulled from local organizations that depend on them. Kansas City's Ivanhoe Neighborhood Council had planned on receiving $165,000 from the USDA over 3 years for a program supporting backyard gardening and farming, encouraging local growers to grow more and sell produce at farmers markets to help feed their neighbors. Well, now staffers tell me that funding is gone because of the change affecting DEI policies.
I know how much farmers of all types, urban and rural, care about serving their communities and how expensive it is to grow and to do it well. It's really not a good outcome for Ivanhoe, but really I think it's emblematic of a really big problem for our nation, to be honest.
Organizers say the cuts will really make it harder for them in their mission to feed young mothers using the WIC program, as well as seniors as they battle food deserts here at home. That is one of the many issues we're following with local impact. So here to discuss, please welcome Kansas City Congressman, Democrat Emanuel Cleaver. Thank you so much for being here, sir. First off, we know the folks at Ivanhoe say they've reached out to your office. What recourse or resources do these organizations have right now?
Well, certainly Ivanhoe is one of the most successful neighborhood organization that we've ever had in Kansas City, certainly on the east side of the city. So they merit all of the support we can muster. The problem we have, of course, is there will be a move, I'm told, next week to slash and burn dollars that have been appropriated by the legislative branch, which is also the constitutional branch. And that's the place where normally we are able to get federal assistance for neighborhoods. HUD may not even exist in the next 10 days, although it's illegal what's happening. We have right now 78 court cases around the country. We can't file those cases as members of Congress because we have no standing according to the judicial decisions so far. So other organizations are having to file those suits. But look, Ivanhoe is a good organization. They're struggling now financially, but make no mistake, if there's any organization that deserves all of the attention that I can give, I intend to do just that.
Right, and there's one of many organizations that's feeling the pinch here. Some of what we're seeing from this administration harkens back kind of that all lives matter argument from 2020 when critics claimed that, pointing out the importance of black lives somehow diminished others, which wasn't the intent. How do we move forward as a country here?
Well, first of all, I'm really saddened by this new effort to divide us even more as a nation. And an attack on diversity and equity really points out how insecure people are. Some people who are pushing this. This is a melting pot. We've always tried to create the image internationally that that's what we are, and that's what we do. And diversity is a mix, and inclusion is cooking the mix to creating the dish. And we need to understand that we're the only place on planet Earth where there's a great opportunity to make racial and ethnic diversity work. If it can't work in the United States, it won't work on any other continent. And probably is a statement about how long this planet can make it. We've got to work together. We've got to create opportunities for neighborhoods to improve themselves, which means that the legislative body cannot afford to have people coming in and wrecking them and wreaking havoc all over the country. Right now, I have money that's already been approved, signed by the President of the United States, and I can't get it into Kansas City because there's been an illegal halt of all dollars flowing out into the United States right now.
Real quick, just a few seconds left. What is next for people in these underserved communities? Where is the battle now? Well,
we're in court, and there are some other housing groups around the country who intend to file some additional court filings, make court filings. Now, we'll also try to figure out ways in which we can work with the secretary, who has not come in yet, Secretary TerHud. My fear, based on what he has said thus far, is that he's coming in to kind of supervise the dissolution of HUD, which has been around since 1965, created by Lyndon Johnson to deal with the problems like Ivanhoe, where neighborhood people have come together and want to make a better neighborhood a reality, but just need some financial help.
All right. We'll be checking in as we go through this as a nation here together. Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, thank you for your time and insight today.